Released in 2018, 1 year after the first part, and then added to side stories 2 years later, Paradise Lost is the second part of the saga of the Archangels in Granblue Fantasy. The story starts with fireworks going off on the sky, everyone reminiscing and celebrating in town. What are they celebrating? Their survival against the recent cataclysm, the one where the Archangel Sandalphon almost caused the Sky Island to fall. And while the reconstructions are doing fine, in another place, way higher in the sky, there is a mysterious room where a mysterious cocoon is resting, while Lucifer looks after it, thinking about his precious uwu boy who did nothing wrong. He speaks softly to the cocoon, setting up his death flags not even 2 minutes into the story, as he mentions his final task. And not to say that I didn't warn him, but he does get stabbed by a drill out of nowhere, by a new mysterious hooded antagonist claiming to be after Lucilius' legacy. People are roasting the loser angel Sandalphon on their festivities, but Lyria, thinking about him while holding on to the feather she received in the latest episode, feels kinda bad for him, feeling that he wasn't truly evil, regardless of what he did. The feeling of not knowing herself while wanting to be useful to others, that was something she was relating to. While absent-minded, she is suddenly approached by the kind of man your mother must have warned you about, saying, "What a cute bloom you got there. Mind if I stroke it?" Before anyone can call the cops, he identifies himself as a fashion designer, which makes everything okay. With everyone failing to see anything wrong with the situation, the man has his way with Lyria's feather, looking very pleased with what he's doing, even reviewing it like he's posting on TripAdvisor. "The proportions are sublime. The only problem is how it looks when held up to the light. The golden ratio stares me right in the eyes. I'm going to pop." Oopsie, did I scare you? I can't help myself when I come across such wonderful material. Vern points out how weird he is being over a feather, but the man insists feathers are the realest shit in the entire world. Something about the ideas he Guilty Gear strives for or something. So he gives Lyria the feather back, probably covered in some slimy substance, and we write him off as someone who has had way too much to drink at the present festivities. But Shiero Karte, Prime Faker identifier, calls the man out, since she caught him switching feathers around, an accusation which he tries to dodge by first claiming to be a magician testing his sleight of hand, to then someone claiming to be a patissier. I mean, he does look like he enjoys creaming some pies. But at this point, he's just being sarcastic because he knows no one believes a single word from him anymore. Accepting his defeat at this intense match of Pretend Among Us, he agrees to leave, not without making things sound weird again. It was a good turn on, at least. As he leaves our sight, the sky appears to go black, giving place to primal beasts showing up to duke it out with each other like it's Thursday in Japan. Panic sets in, and not even Lyria seems to be able to do anything about this with her primal controlling power. "Oh Miguel!" manifests, and offers to fend off the beasts while we proceed with the evacuation with the help of 2 newly introduced Archangels, Helluel and Maluel. In the town center, we try to get some info out of the angels, who reveal that this incident is quite similar to the last one. While previously, the 4 basic elements were the ones being thrown into chaos, causing the falling of islands, this time the issue lies with the ether, which is composed of a light and a dark nature, which had its cycle broken, leading to certain primal beasts going berserk. With the one usually presiding over the ether being the supreme primarch, Lucifer, logic dictates that something must have happened to him. A concerning scenario, as he is a very powerful being, even stronger than Michael. To check on him, we must travel to Canaan, a land located in the lower level of the Skydome, only reachable through a dangerous passage called the Celestial Strait, which even the 4 primarchs have trouble traversing. With that established, the crew spends the next few days preparing for the seemingly impossible travel, with Rackham spending energy drink-filled nights trying to figure out how to upgrade the Grand Cipher. Everyone else helps in their own way, like Eugen, commanding the labor into putting Rackham's blueprints into practice, Io and Rosetta obtaining new magical engines, and even Lyria stockpiling supplies alongside Catalina. With the Grand Cipher eventually fully uncapped and leveled up, and with the guidance of Hal and Mal, we set flight to Canaan. Bub-san is wary of the singularity, but I'm all about the foreplay, says the sexually suspicious man as he watches us in the sky, starting to cross the Celestial Strait. Inside it, we fight some monsters, taking the Grand Cipher's engine to the limit, reaching what seems to be other ships. No, those were ghosts from the past, reenacting the war against the Astrals, an effect of space-time distortions that were said to exist in the Celestial Strait. Rosetta, who is actually an old primal from that time, even confirms this. But suddenly, one specific memory of the world appears before the crew, of a man strikingly similar to Lucifer, being asked about the rebellion of the primal beasts, which would have been recent at the time. Lucifer knew that this man was the one responsible for it, with even the rebellion's failure being part of his plan. The man admits to it, claiming it was all a way to amass the cores of primal beasts, with which to continue his forbidden experiment. He postulates that the end of evolution is for all beings to strain towards homeostasis, and so his test subject, created from all those cores, is a monument of defiance towards the omnipotent from which everything came. Angry about the heresy and the destructive risk this experiment could bring to the skies, Lucifer strikes down the man he calls Lucilius, who accepts his death, knowing there will be those who carry on his legacy. With the flashback fully viewed, Canaan is just around the corner, with turbulence getting harder to manage. At the nick of time, primal beasts Colossus, Tiamat, Leviathan, and Yggdrasil help us land safely against all odds. Though before that, the degenerate Patissier from before suddenly lands on the ship, tossing the Hall and Mal he just defeated on the floor. The two angel girls identify the man as Belial, an archangel working for Lucilius. With him seemingly wanting to stop us from reaching Lucifer, we take on Belial in a fight. We kick Belial in the groin, and the end of the Celestial Strait is near. But the deck is on fire. Damn it! Belial faked his death like his girlfriend faked her own. All of this because Belial finds Silius alluring and wants to release his legacy. He leaves us to our luck. Catalina, taking a decision, leads Lyria and us to the hangar of the ship to get the Night Cipher, a sleek, two-person airship which was used in a certain race before. Lyria sings again to psych ourselves up before launching off to Canaan on the small ship. We arrive in the shrine inside Canaan, hoping to find Lucifer safe and sound inside, but the place feels empty and abandoned. Lyria says she can't feel Lucy's presence in one place, but instead scattered all around us. Her Lucifer plume glows, like it's trying to point somewhere. Following its lead leads us to a strange egg-like construct with which the plume resonates, making our vision go white. When we come to, we realize we've been seemingly transported to another place, an empty village of sorts. Looking around, the only person to be found was none other than Sandalphon, looking more like a rejected Kingdom Hearts OC than ever before. Equally surprised as we are by the meeting, he nonetheless leads us back to his home in his strange world. He seems to be unaware of being inside the cocoon, and doesn't seem to know how to exit this place. When asked about trying to, he says no. He had awakened here right after the last time we saw him, after he got sealed away by Lucifer. Not wanting to second-guess Lucifer again after his previous mistake, he had resigned himself into staying confined in this world, awaiting whatever punishment would come his way for his actions. Breaking the awkward silence that ensued, Sander remembers us mentioning the Supreme Primarch was in danger, offering his house as a base of operations until we find our way back, implying the time inside this world runs differently from outside. Finally, I can get 5 months of grid grinding done in one day. We find out Sand became a coffee addict because of this time flow. Despite Sandalphon acting like a model prisoner, Lyria is unsatisfied with his attitude. I don't understand why you aren't satisfied. It was you who put a stop to the cataclysm I wrought. Peace returned to the skies, and I faced judgment.
That's not enough! I don't know how to put it, but just meekly accepting punishment like this is meaningless. Unless you change, it won't resolve a thing!
What would you have me do?
You
think I should continue to agonize over it? You'd like me to be trapped here forever with no company but my own weaponized thought? That would be an effective punishment, but it would hardly be a change from my former life. Is it so wrong for me to set aside the regal which tormented me for so long and simply live in peace?
Can't you solve it? Lucifer was trying.
Do you imagine a king and a peasant child could stand on even ground and understand each other? You can't possibly fathom the difference between him and me. His gaze is fixed so much higher.
But he was trying to reach out to you!
Yes, I suppose he was moved to pity by my wretchedness.
How can you think that? Lucifer wouldn't—
Enough! What do you know about it?
Nothing! But I know at least something about you! You remind me so much of myself, especially when I was in the clutches of the Empire. I used to ask myself, what am I? What am I doing here? Am I any use to anyone? I still don't know the answers to those questions. But even so, I'm happy because I got to meet so many wonderful people.
Happy? What are you trying to say? You had the singularity to save you. No one is coming to retrieve the sacrificial pawn lying discarded by the board. That's all I am. It's what I was made to be. There is no closing the gap between player and pawn.
Come with us to save Lucifer. The difference between you shouldn't matter. He needs you.
What?
You have to believe that you and Lucifer will understand each other one day, or you'll never be happy.
Stop it. Don't waste your breath on me.
Why not? Stop saying that you're not worth it, that it's meaningless. It's not true.
Silence.
Sandalphon.
Enough! His emotional burst breaks the fabric of the cocoon's world. With the cocoon in tatters, we are back in the shrine in Canaan, although knocked out. The first to come to his senses is Sandalphon, realizing where he is and quickly feeling Lucifer's presence. With Lyria's words in mind, he decides to move on his own accord. He walks towards Lucifer's faint presence, struggling along the way after having unconsciously manifested a new physical body. Not being used to it, he even accidentally crumbled some of the old stone, forcing Sandalphon to drag himself through rubble in an unsightly way, all while keeping Lucifer as the only thing in his mind. He arrives at his destination, expecting this all to be a prank, only to find it empty. He hears a faint voice in his head. Can someone hear me? And so he finds Lucifer, what's left of him. He drops to his knees, hurriedly reaching out and taking on his arms the head of the Supreme Primarch. I have lost all 5 of my senses. I can neither see nor hear you, if you're even there, so I haven't the luxury of choice. You who reached the unreachable land of Canaan, whether you be one or many, I must beg a favor. Please, I have a message for the ears of one named Sandalphon. Tell him, Sandalphon, I leave my power and the position of Supreme Primarch to you. We must both atone for the cataclysm which struck the skies. My penance is death, yours is to live on as protector of this realm. And one day, you must carry out what I could not, the destruction of Lucilius's legacy. His legacy is one of evil. It represents the greatest peril ever to cast its shadow over the sky realm. I stole it from him and sealed it away, but with my death, its revival cannot be far behind. So I beg of you, when all of this is past, I want you to choose your purpose for yourself. The skies are constantly evolving. Nature will take over our roles, and we Primarchs can retire and simply live. The skies, the skies, the skies! All you ever talk about is the worthless world! Go on, give your powers to me and see what I do with them. I'll send it all down the Crimson Horizon in flames. If you want to stop me, you'll have to... I don't have much time. That it? Are you going to deny yourself down to your final breath? Don't you have anything to say? Not for the world, but just for yourself? That's the end of my message. I'm depending on you. On his final breath, he wonders. What makes the sky blue? For thousands of years, people have wondered. And even once they grasped the science, they continued to ask. It stuck me. Perhaps a question is really just a wish. Longing for something, yearning for someone, feeling elation when that desire is realized, pain when denied, wondering why, how, what to do. That eternal questioning, wishing, seems to be where evolution leads. If I could be granted one request, I'd like to share one more cup of coffee with you, in that shaded garden. Sandalphon. No, please, no. You're our shining example, our guiding light. This can't happen to you. Sandalphon's new wings spread out, his pure white wings. They don't belong in my bag, Lucifer-sama. The new Supreme Primarch, Sandalphon, had been born. After we took our sweet time to wake up from getting de-isekai'd, we follow Sandalphon's footsteps, finding him, his back adorned with 6 flowing wings illuminating the entire room, with a painful, mourning expression on his face, holding back his tears. Despite quickly understanding the situation, we are stuck speechless in the face of this otherworldly scene. But no time is given to us to gaze at the new Sandalphon, as the shrine begins to shake violently, with Lyria sensing something terrifying. A single presence, but composed of countless ones fused together. Somewhere deep within the shrine, a roar is heard. Helluel and Maluel help us get back to the Grand Cipher in a hurry, warning about a black beast. Outside, Canaan is almost unrecognizable, the landscape overshadowed by a towering nightmare of a creature, shaking the heavens themselves with its massive wings and talons. The creature ravages its surroundings, with no discernible drive or purpose. We land on the Grand Cipher, which is damaged to the point of barely hanging on the sky, with Sandalphon still in a state of shock while we ponder on the situation. The giant creature was Lucilius's legacy, created from the cores he harvested after suppressing the original Primal Beast's rebellion, an unholy chimera. Eugen points out how it might be a matter of time until that thing escapes the Celestial Strait and gets out into the open sky. A hooded man watches over the released beast.
Consciousness rendered hollow, a blade forged from hatred and resentment, tempered with millennia of torment, defying the expectations of the gods, inheritor of Lucilius's ambitions, pure destruction made flesh. This creature truly merits the name Avatar.
Oh, Bub-san awakens at last. Slept in a little, didn't you?
The Supreme Primarch was more resilient and craftier than I expected. I didn't anticipate him passing on his powers, but his successor is a poor substitute. He won't be able to wield those powers to great effect.
I'm sure. We don't even know if the power transfer itself was a success.
Would you like to explain the presence of the singularity? I believe I told you to snip every possible sprout that might blossom into a threat.
Yeah, my bad. I've been hiding my light under a bushel to keep the 4 Primax off my tail. It's just so hard to work like that. I suppose the Supreme Primarch was better prepared for this than we thought. But the longer the chase, the more excited you get for the main event, don't you think? We're nearly there, Bub-san. Shall we raise a glass like Sky Dwellers do? The man called Bub-san by Belial gets suddenly attacked from behind. Don't you ever sully his name with your filthy tongue again. I will end this, no matter what. Now rewinding to before Sandy attacked Bubs. The crew is scrambling around while Sandy was still in shock, until he gets slapped by Hal, getting a stern talking to by Hal and Mal. He excuses himself by saying he was praying, in his own way, hoping for Lucifer's soul to find peace. That was when he locked on to a high point upwards, honing to the hooded man responsible for Lucifer's death. Having knocked Bubs away, he now sets his sights on Belial. Unfortunately, their duel is quickly interrupted by Avatar, flashing its power against the Angels. With Belial nowhere to be seen now, Sandalphon decides to cleanse the abomination out of existence. Swearing by the 6 wings inherited by Lucifer, they fight, and Sandalphon uses Lucifer's finishing move, Paradise Lost, to seemingly destroy Avatar, exhausting himself in the process, commencing to fall down as he loses his wings. Thankfully, he is picked up by the Grand Cipher. Everyone is hyping up his new powers, but not everything seems quite right still, as Avatar is still not dead. It rises again, charging an enormous ball of energy targeting the ship, with power enough to wipe out multiple islands. But Rackham and the others aren't about to just take it lying down. Showing off the might of the Sky Dwellers, they ask Sandalphon to trust them, and Rackham puts everything out of the upgraded but damaged Grand Cipher in order to dodge the little attack. With assured destruction avoided, the ship is made to face the creature again, with the Sky Dwellers ready to fight it this time. Very well, Singularity. Lend me your aid. I have a promise to keep, and you have a world to save. This time. I won't fail. Lucilius's legacy ends here. Lucifer-sama, watch over me. Over us all! We triumph against Avatar with the help of Sandalphon, finally finishing off the abomination, or so it seems, with its abnormal regenerative capacity making it reappear once again, which Sandalphon blames on its infinite number of cores, thinking an infinite amount of force would be necessary to extinguish them. As if ready to agree with him, Michael and the other Primarchs finally arrive, thanks to the stabilization of the Aether brought by Sandalphon's ascension to Supreme Primarch and the destruction of the Celestial Strait by Avatar. Following Sandalphon's idea, the Primarchs summon their strength in order to bring an attack of infinite disruption upon the infinitely regenerating beast. An unending stream of power, coming from the guardians of the four elements. Michael commands us to finish the beast off for the future of the skies, and as the good boy protagonist we are, we jump over to the target and finally stab it, driving the sword through its chest and slicing the core. We call out to Lyria for the final blow.
Primeval Dragon, child of dark flames, thy name is Bahamut!
With Avatar core slashed, Bahamut's flare burns the beast away. Several days later, the reconstruction anniversary celebrations resume. While everyone is up to their own shenanigans, we meet Sandalphon on the deck of our ship. For now, he had decided to join our party, hoping to have our help in case Avatar appeared again, and also wanting to fulfill Lucifer's last request, even if that meant defending the skies. Though Lyria thinks he's just being tsundere about it. What makes the sky blue? You were so captivated by the question that grew into a wish. Perhaps beasts like us simply envy the ability to harbor such illogical thoughts. The astrals who gave us birth didn't grant us that faculty, nor the potential to dream of an independent future. You wanted to see where evolution would lead, so I'll follow that path in your stead. With a new ally on board, the crew sets forth into the skies once more. However, the curtain is yet to be brought down.
I thought the destruction of Canaan had eliminated any trace of the Supreme Primarch, but I didn't plan for the succession of his powers. No matter. More importantly, I lost the light half of Lucilius's legacy, but was fortunate enough to acquire the dark half. So close. The final phase of this age-old plan has come at last. Lucilius, are you watching? I'll unify the worlds and win this war with you. Everything will be settled at last, and I will reign.
In the end, Bub-san let me sweat and strain while he just laid back and enjoyed himself. Well, thanks to his laziness, I got the body I was after. Now what to do about the head? Bub-san is kind of a cold shower, but now it's my turn to play. Covetous Talus reach once more toward the sky realm. The shadow of dark ambition falls long over the skies, too broad and too close to be evaded. The final chapter of the Archangels story is destined to open and close sooner than they expect.